My name is Anne. It's been 2 months since the whole debacle with Jake, and my life has taken a turn for the better. But there was a time when I was caught in a web of manipulation and falsehoods, and it all came to a head at the airport. It was a typical morning, the sun just starting to peek through my curtains. My phone rang at 6:47 a.m. I let it ring twice, already knowing who it was. "What the hell did you do?" Jake snapped, his voice sharp and breathless. "Good morning," I said calmly, sipping my strong, black coffee. "Don't good morning me. My flights are cancelled. The airline says there's no ticket under my name. The resort has no record of my reservation. I'm at the airport, Anne. What is going on?" I took another sip of coffee. "Sounds like the charges didn't go through." "What do you mean didn't go through?" "You approved them. You watched me book everything." I corrected him. "I watched you book them, but I didn't agree to keep them." "You gave me your card." "Yes, and you spent $14,000 without permission." He laughed, but it was too loud and forced. "That's insane. You can't just cancel someone's trip like this." I replied firmly, "I can. It was my card, my money. I disputed the charges as fraud." There was a moment of silence, then he said, "Fraud? I'm your boyfriend." I smiled, though he couldn't see it. Boyfriends don't say things like, "You're lucky I even date you," right before demanding $14,000. He quickly said, "I was joking. You took it the wrong way." I shook my head, even though he couldn't see me. "No, you meant it. And honestly, thank you for saying it out loud." His voice rose. "You're overreacting. This is humiliating. I'm standing at the airport. People are looking at me. Do you know how this makes me look?" That was the question that made me realize it was over. I set my mug down. "I'm done, Jake. We're done." He panicked. "You can't break up with me over this. This is just a misunderstanding." I said, "No, this is clarity." He softened his tone. "And, please. I didn't mean it like that." I was excited. I got carried away. I replied, "Then call one of those men you could be dating instead. See if they'll book you a flight." He asked, "You're really doing this?" I said, "I'm really choosing myself. Don't contact me again." And with that, I hung up. Let me take you back to how it all started. I'm from a middle-class family. My parents are hard-working people. My father is a factory worker, a man of few words but with a heart of gold. My mother is a schoolteacher, kind and nurturing. They taught me the value of hard work and integrity. I work in software compliance. It's a job that requires long hours, but it provides a stable income. I have a simple life, with a small apartment and an old car. I met Jake at a rooftop party hosted by our mutual friend, Lily. The party was filled with string lights and overpriced drinks, and the city lights were like a glittering backdrop. Jake worked in fashion PR. He had this effortless confidence that came from being in the spotlight. He knew everyone and dressed like he never had to worry about money. At first, I thought we were a good match. I thought we balanced each other. But looking back, I realize he thought he was settling. Jake liked to make subtle comments about my life. When he saw my apartment, he said, "It's cute, actually. Small but cozy." I just smiled and thanked him. When he laughed at my car, saying, "You still drive that?" I shrugged it off. I told myself that love meant making compromises. My best friend, Sarah, warned me. "He talks to you like you should be grateful," she said one day. I immediately defended him. "He's just blunt," I said. But I didn't realize how much those words could hurt. The idea of a trip to Santorini started as a fantasy. Jake would scroll through photos on his phone and send them to me during work hours. One night, he said, "Everyone's been." It's embarrassing that I haven't. That word, embarrassing, stuck with me. Last Tuesday, he came over while I was working from home. I was deep in code when he sat down at my kitchen table and opened his laptop. "We need to talk about Greece," he said. "Can it wait?" "I'm in the middle of something," I asked. "No, I want to go in 2 weeks," he replied. 2 weeks? I closed my laptop slowly. "I don't know if I can get the time off." "Then I'll go alone," he said casually. "You'll still pay." I laughed at first, thinking he was joking. But when he turned the screen to me, showing me luxury hotels, business class flights, and spa packages, and said it was only $12,000, I told him no. That's when he leaned back, arms crossed, with a sharp smile. "You're lucky I even date you, Anne. Men like you don't get women like me." Something inside me went quiet. I reached into my wallet, slid my card across the table, and said, "Go ahead. Book it." As I watched him type, I finally understood. He wasn't just booking a trip, he was performing. He clicked through tabs, compared suites, upgraded flights, and added all these extras. The total climbed higher than $12,000, reaching $14,000 and change by the time he hit confirm. He didn't even flinch or ask if I was sure. He just smiled triumphantly, like he'd won something he was always entitled to. After he left, I sat at my kitchen table, feeling stupid. Not because he booked the trip, but because he genuinely believed he could talk to me that way and still get what he wanted. I picked up my phone and called my credit card company. I spoke evenly when the representative answered. "Hi, I need to dispute a charge." They asked for the amount, and I read it off from the confirmation email Jake had sent me. I told them I didn't authorize the charge. They said I was reporting it as fraud, and I let the words sink in. I explained that I gave him the card, but there was no agreement for that amount. The representative didn't argue. They said they'd cancel the card, issue a new number, and flag the charges for reversal. Then I called the resort and the airline. Both had non-refundable policies, but if the payment failed, the bookings would be canceled. That night, Jake sent me a text with a photo of shopping bags on his bed, saying he'd bought so many cute outfits for the trip and he'd look amazing in Santorini. I replied, "Me. Can't wait." It was a lie, but I was waiting for something else. I went to bed with my phone on the nightstand, my heart strangely steady. After midnight, I started getting notifications of charge reversals. One by one, the $14,000 worth of his entitlement crumbled. The next morning, when he called from the airport, I knew it was the end. After our call, I blocked his number and his social media. Lily called me later that day. "Jake just called me. He's crying. He says you canceled his trip and broke up with him at the airport," she said. I told her the whole story about the comments, the entitlement, and the $14,000. She was shocked. "I had no idea he talked to you like that." "I'm so sorry. I wouldn't have set you up if I'd known," she said. I asked her not to set him up with anyone else, and she promised she wouldn't. Jake posted a story on social media about being betrayed and humiliated. Some people felt sorry for him, but others who knew him better were skeptical. One of my friends commented about the things he'd said and the money he'd spent, but the comment disappeared quickly, and my friend was removed from his followers list. Jake's mother called me. She said she wanted to resolve the situation. I told her what Jake had said to me, and she was hesitant at first. She said it didn't sound like him, but I assured her it was. She said she'd talked to her son and apologized for his behavior. I told her I wasn't interested in reconciliation. Jake sent me an email, a carefully worded apology, asking to meet and saying that canceling the trip was extreme. I waited until Friday to reply. I told him I appreciated the apology, but I believed people when they showed me who they were. I said he'd spent my money without permission after insulting me, and I wasn't interested in getting back together. He tried to contact me a couple more times, once through a mutual acquaintance and once by showing up at my apartment building. I refused to see him. In the weeks that followed, I started seeing my friends again, the ones I'd drifted away from because Jake thought they were low energy. I went out without constantly checking my phone, I slept better, and I laughed more. 3 weeks later, I met Daniel at a coffee shop. He's a middle school teacher, warm, a little awkward, and genuinely thoughtful. On our first date, he insisted on splitting the bill, not to make a statement, but because it was just normal to him. The difference between him and Jake hit me hard. About a month after everything, I ran into Jake at a grocery store. We made eye contact, and he looked like he wanted to say something. But I picked up my apples and walked away. 2 months later, my life is quieter and better. I've heard that Jake is dating someone new, someone from his industry with money to burn. I hope she knows what she's getting into. Because people like Jake really believe they're doing you a favor by being with you, and they expect you to be grateful for their affection. I'd rather be alone than be used. Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is just stop being a doormat.